Now this is Elena, thank you for setting this up as usual. Alrighty, so first order of business is call to order and roll call. I'm going to actually do roll call because we're missing a couple people today, etc. I'm going to move this phone so I don't do it and mediate trip over the board. Here we go. We'll start off with the exec board. So Mahek here, Brianna here, Elena here, Karen here. I have to go into my drive. I don't have the notes pulled up right now. I need to have these things pulled up all the time. Alright, Nathan.
Hello.
Nikki. Here. Suba has an excused absence. Angela has an excused absence. Grace. Can I hear Grace? Does anyone know where Grace is?
She should be coming. I don't know quite where she is,
Okay, could you text
but
her?
I know she exists.
Okay, great. Jada.
Hi, they're here.
Anthony.
Here.
For the first time. Yes. So, oh, Grace is here. Jumon.
Here.
Sophie. Here. Talia. Here. Trinette.
Here.
Obi.
Here.
Peter.
Here.
Kobe.
Here.
Rachel F. Rachel H.
Here.
Shalala.
Here.
Ireland.
Here.
Jenny.
Here.
Raj.
Here.
Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get actually started. I believe those are some of our guests for today. So we're gonna start off with the executive board and SGA branch report, starting off with executive president Ali. So whenever you're ready.
Hey guys, welcome back to another GBM. So we sent out the email last week. All of the applications for SJ's independent bodies and judiciary are right now open. We currently only have one application for the judiciary, so we're going to extend for a couple of days, and Elena is going to post on Instagram for us, and hopefully we'll get some more applicants. Additionally, the SDS survey went out that we made with Laurel and Caroline, and we are just waiting for more responses to come in. Hopefully by next month, we're going to have enough responses to kind of form our report. Additionally, I'm going to start working on getting the 9 undergraduate like the 9 Hopkins schools. I'm going to try to set up a meeting with all of us to kind of see where all of the other graduate and student representative groups are at. And from there, I want to kind of work towards building a student position on the board of trustees. So that's going to be kind of a great project. Me and exec board are going to start tackling probably within this next month and then the next coming year, I guess. It's going to take a while, but just to make you guys aware of that.
All right. And next we have executive vice president, which is me. So we met with Calvin and Carolyn yesterday, had a good productive conversation. We're going to try to get someone from the student conduct office to come speak to us about the amnesty policies, like for what you call hero and that kind of thing, especially in light of all the new COVID stuff. Graduate students now have to get once weekly testing. You should have gotten that email to update on that end. For people who are interested in the haunted house, Oktoberfest is actually having their own, an actual one. So we will not be doing that, but we can do the reverse trick-or-treating. I've been talking to Carolyn about that, so we're hopefully going to work with some RAs. I'll keep you guys updated and send them an email about that later. And then in less positive news, the new sophomore, not freshman, Senator Rachel Fink has resigned from SGA as the email I got 2 minutes ago. So that's the official resignation. So we will be looking for a new position on that council. And then we also have senior senator confirmations. Again, take a look at the agenda. We have added and removed some things based on availability. If you guys have anything you want on next week's agenda, don't forget to email it to me by Sunday at noon-ish or a little bit later. We're going to go ahead and move on to the executive treasurer. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Karen.
Hello, hope everyone's doing well. So we've been doing interviews with the people who've submitted SAC applications. We're also extending that deadline and probably going to send out an email soon because only 2 people applied, so if you're interested, please apply. I will be meeting with IFC tomorrow to discuss possible ways fraternity life and SGA can collaborate on events. And then, what else? I can't recall. Oh, we passed the sex youth bill through finance this week also as well. That's it.
All right, moving on to Executive Secretary. Elena, go ahead whenever you're ready.
With Claire Lockery, who runs the JH Wellness Instagram tomorrow, so that we can talk about collaborating for advertising mental health resources like Silver Cloud. And I'm also interviewing candidates for the CDC, and I actually do have a decent number of applications, but I will be posting on Instagram tonight or tomorrow about all the executive commissions and judiciary. And also, don't forget to keep up with attendance and meeting minutes.
Beautiful. We're moving on to class calendar reports, starting off with seniors.
Howdy, howdy. Happy Blue Jay Tuesday to the three
That's my announcement.
So a couple really awesome updates. So we have a new returning face to SGA who had an absolutely wonderful application. So excited to introduce her later in the meeting. And then also we finalized kind of our, I shouldn't say finalized. We now have a solid tentative event schedule for the fall semester, which I'm excited to start working on.
Great. We're going to go ahead and move on to juniors. Anthony.
We've been working on an event schedule for the upcoming month, basically some fundraising charity events, and we will actually be meeting after GBM for a few minutes to continue discussing that.
All right. Sounds good. We're going to move on to sophomores.
So, we had our meeting. We were unfortunately going to be looking for another sophomore senator. So we are we're going to send out applications, interview. We're not going to take 2 months this time, so that'll be fun. We're also have our October events planned out, and they look pretty exciting. And what was that? Oh yes, so we want to reinvigorate our Instagram, have event advertising office hours, and do spotlights of people on campus that make campus work, like the wonderful ladies at Charmar. So that'll be fun.
Sounds good. All right, now that we've finished up with that, freshman elections, as I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, will be happening in the next 2 weeks. We don't have an exact date on that yet. Still working to get information from CSE. Just kidding, Talia has updated the date in the general chat, so go ahead and pop into Teams and check that. Unlike me, who did not read the Teams chat before coming here. So committee reports, we're going to start with academic affairs.
So we met on Sunday, and we had a meeting with Charlene Argamasa in our meeting, and we're going to be working with her to expand resources within study consulting, and also maybe working with the pilot. Sorry, name is Ariane Kelly. We'll be working with her as well. We're also going to be creating an Intro to All Support Resources webinar in the next 2 weeks, and maybe coming up with a couple more workshops to help freshmen prepare for finals. We'll also be looking at the SCS survey with Mahek, and then expanding our Instagram.
Sounds good. We're going to go ahead and move on to civic engagement. Whenever you're ready.
Oh, that is me as well. Hi. So something we are working on is volunteering with vaccine misinformation. We'll reach out to a couple of Baltimore organizations that were recently given grants to work on grassroots community outreach for vaccine information. So that's going to be cool. We also want to follow up with deans about the Q2 implementation, and also have a meeting with the Vice President of Public Safety.
Sounds good. Moving on to finance.
Karen and I met with Carolyn last week. We discussed some precautions to take when reviewing budgets and monthly grants in the future. We also had a meeting where we passed the revised sex bill, and we took the meeting time with SAC, but we're going to confirm this on campus group as soon as our full SAC board is picked out.
Sounds wonderful. HSS.
Yeah, we met on Sunday. We talked about following up with food pantry people, and then Angela's reaching out to the Office of Sustainability about farmers market project we were working on. We also have a meeting with Homewood Recycling coming up, and we have an SGA RA event that we passed a bill for a couple weeks ago coming up, and then we also did the sex week.
Great. Moving on to internal affairs.
So first we have a one for judiciary application form. So it might be a good idea to send another email out to make sure that you can make a choice. And the another thing is our discussion about closed section. We will expand on that later.
Beautiful. Moving on to student orgs.
Yeah, we've started getting into the re-registration flow. I'm trying to think if there's anything particularly notable. Org liaisons are going to be coming out soon. We're doing an opt-in process this year, so hearings are going to be happening in a little bit of a different way, but we're hopeful that it's going to really allow people to have one-on-one connections with their organizations. Otherwise, just know that re-registration closes in a couple days, so it is absolutely critical that anyone who leads an organization or knows someone who leads an organization make sure that they get their application in on time, because that's like a very firm deadline. So just make sure that you submit in time or you will not be recognized this year.
Alrighty, and last but not least, student services.
Yeah, so student services met yesterday and we continue our discussion on the ideas we had and what we want to implement to do. Some things, action items for this week, including getting in touch with the person in charge of transportation to discuss possible trials of mall trips and the extension of Blue Jay shuttle hours to improve transportation on campus. Other ones, a follow-up with previous ideas about SGA equipment rentals, or look into what's going on with the previous equipment rentals that Madsen Center had with like electronic equipment such as like gaming devices and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what we have for now.
Alrighty, that sounds good. We still don't officially have any caucuses, but that will be changing after new agenda information. Advisor report.
Hey y'all, I have a few updates. First thing is that on Thursday of this week, the lead office is having an open house from 3 to 7 at the lab, which is our new office space. It's also a social space that students can engage in after 7 p.m. So we want to promote that as one, where lead is, and two, a place where you can hang out. It doesn't have the milkshake bar, is that what you're using?
Correct.
Yeah, so sorry about that. You can still come hang out and play some games. And then the DMC, so the Digital Media Center, is turning 20 years old this year. They're also hosting an open house and a 20-year celebration, and that's from, it's in the afternoon on Thursday. I will drop the flyer in the Teams chat so that y'all can see it. I can't remember the times. And then just after the open house and the DMC celebration is Block Party, which is hosted by Trinity, Ready Life, and a number of other campus partners. That'll be really fun. There's performances lined up. So it's a really great way to get some entertainment in and to get some freebies. And then I think later that afternoon, or later that evening, is a trivia night. So there's a bunch of stuff happening Thursday evening on the North Charles Street side at the Homewood Apartments. So if you live in Homewood Apartments, it's also really good. You just walk outside the door. The next thing is that re-registration, Nathan already took this, but re-registration and new org registration closes Thursday at 11:59 p.m. There are no exceptions to this. So if you know someone starting a new organization and they haven't submitted their form, I'd encourage them to do that now. If you are also part of a group who hasn't completed re-registration, you shouldn't be able to access that group's page right now until you submit the re-registration form. Event submissions seems to be like a point of contention for some of our students. We're still working out some of the kinks, but want to make sure that you all know some of the basic policies and rules for that. So event submissions require 15 business days in advance for their submissions. That ensures enough time for scheduling and event services to actually find a space and get the setup needs together for you. In addition to that, at least one member of your organization needs to be COVID-19 safety monitor trained. Those trainings can be found on the homepage of Hopkins Groups. If you have questions about the event approval process, just contact the lead office at any of our number of email addresses. And the last thing that I'll just sort of glaze over for now, but I'm happy to talk more in depth with people about, but it's something I've noticed lately, is that this is a reminder that you all have convening power. So convening power actually means that you get to call for a meeting with administrators. As a representative of Student Government Association, it is a unique thing that you get to do. There is some internal processes for how that happens, specifically working with the executive branch, but you as a senator do not need to have a specific position to do that. I, in fact, strongly encourage you to have conversations with administrators prior to creating legislation. So prior to writing a resolution, prior to sending out a survey, prior to writing a bill, opinions of the SGA to be as informed as possible to ensure that you are making sound decisions and sharing sound information with the student body. It's hard to do that when we don't have all of the context because we are not talking to administrators. If you need help with that, let me know. We are happy to connect you, but you, all of you, every senator in this room has the ability to convene with an administrator on this campus. Thanks.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to new business. So that is, first order of business is the library redesign. So I believe you guys are here to talk about. So you're gonna have about 10 minutes to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Afterwards, we can go into Q&A or general discussion time. So we'll worry about that once you're done. Do you have a presentation or anything you'd like us to share?
Yeah, you know what, I don't typically give the presentation. It's usually Chris Cannon or Saeed Shuri attend these meetings. And they ask me to attend. I'm part of the construction committee. I'm actually the project manager running the project. So I don't have the presentation. I'm not prepared to give it. I'm just here to support them. So I don't know where they are, but they're supposed to be here today.
We have this wonderful thing called copy paste, and we will put them down here. So you guys will happen later. I don't think I have to motion for that. All right, so we're going to start off with confirmation. So first off, we have the WGMC chair confirmation, which will be by me. We need to read that. Alrighty, so go ahead.
I told Katie to come at 7:30.
We will
We're gonna do the library.
We're just gonna rearrange a whole lot of things here. You know, no issues. That's fine. Alrighty, senior senator confirmation. I know the senior senator.
Sounds good.
I'm
She is
here.
here.
Nathan, go ahead.
Yes, so as people know, Talal resigned a few weeks ago. We then went through the application process to be the new senator. We had some great applications. One really stood out, and then that person in her interview stood out even more. So I'm really excited to have Prithika back. For those who don't know, Prithika was a freshman class senator, and then she was our executive secretary sophomore year. So she definitely knows what she's doing. She's a great resource for all of you, and I'm really excited to have her back on the team. So without further ado, I think we're gonna, I have to motion to confirm her, right?
Yes, and then we're gonna read the oath, so you can motion to, that is how we do it, right?
No, there's no motion to read the oath. She just ended up next to her.
Okay.
Does yeah, I was gonna say point of order. I think all the Senate has to vote on her.
Alrighty.
I'm correct. Like I just, am I making that up?
That sounds correct.
Yeah, I think that, I'm pretty sure.
Alrighty, so Prithika has been selected. All in, yeah, I can just do all in favor. Can I get a motion to move into voting on this?
Motion to move into voting.
Good, can I get a second? Great. All in favor? All opposed? Anybody want to raise any points of information or abstain? I'm going to give you a couple seconds. All in favor of Prithika becoming the senior class senator, fill the vacancy, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Congrats. We're going to go ahead and have you read the oath. You guys don't have to laugh until she reads the oath for sure. But I appreciate how prepared you were. Yeah. This is for the people who don't know her. She's the one who's sitting quietly in the corner.
Hi. So you just raise your hand.
Right hand.
Right hand. Yeah. And just repeat after me. I
Prithika.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of senator of the class of the senior class council,
the office of Senator of the Senior Class Council
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the JHU Student Government Association.
the Constitution of the JHU Student Government Association.
And then if you want to stay after this meeting, just we can update you on some things that have changed and have you fill out some documents if needed. There we go. We have one item of business completed. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next week's funding bill, which is presented by Senator Raj. Whenever you're ready,
Yeah, should I?
you can stand in the middle.
Oh, okay, all right. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for letting me present this on behalf of HSS.
because this should have been taken care of last year, and so I regret having to bring this up to you guys now. And so this is for an event that we held last semester called Sex, and it was meant to teach people about, you know, sexual awareness and body positivity and encourage things like that. And our funding bill was passed because we had it set as items, but even after we got it passed, what we ended up doing was we changed it to gift cards because we wanted people to have more control over what they wanted to purchase. But the issue was that we never checked with finance once we did that. And so, yeah, that miscommunication was very unfortunate. And yeah, because of that, we went forward with it. And then we didn't know until after the fiscal deadline passed that gift cards weren't allowed anymore. And so we went through everything and we made sure we'll make sure something like this doesn't happen again. So yeah, I just regret having to do this now, and I want to letting me do this now. And yeah, I sent the anonymous form to all the people via campus groups that won, and I collected all their info. If they wanted to have it shipped at the time, this was over summer, I wanted to get it done then I would give them that option. But we talked with admin, and I also spoke with Karen, and we're just going to have it all shipped to Levering. And so there's no need to hassle with that. It's a local sex shop called Sugar in Baltimore, so we're supporting a local business. And yeah, the total amount will be less than $480. And in the bill, I have it without tax and shipping, but I know that when I gave the form to all the winners that they have to account for it, and so I know that it won't exceed 480, even though the exact amount isn't in there. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about this, I'd be happy to answer them.
Can I get a motion for voting, Q&A, moderated caucus?
Motion to move into voting procedure.
Beautiful. Can I get a second? All in favor? All opposed? All in favor of passing the funding bill?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The bill is passed. Yay!
Thank you guys. Thank you.
All right. Beautiful. So senior senator has been confirmed. The sex use funding bill has gotten passed. So now we're going to have a discussion with the library redesign people until somebody came in. Now that we've rearranged it a little bit. So just brief introduction. We take surveys about library redesign. We have some people here. As student representatives, we are here to represent the student interests. So you can give your personal interest, but also if you've heard anything from your peers, this is definitely the time to share. Do you have a presentation or anything like that?
I don't. I could just say a few words.
That's entirely fine. You can stay right there. You can stay sitting, standing, whatever you're more comfortable with. Or if you want to come to the center, feel free. Grab whenever you're ready. You have 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll just talk here. You've probably seen emails about all Caucus groups. We're groups of us, representatives from the working committee and the design team have been going around to various organizations just to ask for views about what people like to see in the library redesign. We took an extensive survey. Many undergraduates filled it out. We had really great response rates from undergraduates. 1,600 people in all responded. I think just to frame what I'd like to know about from you today is that on the one hand, there's a general sense that what undergraduates most like is sort of the Birdie Learning Common and areas where they can study in groups and informally even have, conversations while studying. The survey showed that undergraduates on the whole wanted opportunities to have quiet study spaces where they could study individually. So, I'm eager to hear any concerns you have about the library redesign or ideas you have for it, but that's one of the questions on the mind of the working committee. How do those two impulses square with one another in the undergraduate population? So I'm just going to take notes on whatever you have to tell us.
Alrighty, that sounds good. So, can I get a motion for a moderated caucus Q&A round robin? Notice the emphasis I put on that last one.
Motion for a round robin.
Beautiful. Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Beautiful. We are now on a round robin. I think this is the first one we've done this year. So for those of you who don't know what a round robin is, basically every person is to talk. So we have some nice, wonderful prompts from Chris Cannon here. Thank you, Elena. And everybody can share their thoughts, You can pass, but it's you go around, a member of SGA can share something they've heard. So you've heard the prompt. Does anybody have any questions at this point? No? Okay, so the oh yeah, could you briefly repeat like exactly what you want to hear from us?
Whatever you think would be useful for the working committee to know about what undergraduates or what you in particular would like to see in a redesign of the Power Library.
All right, good. So what do you guys want in the library, / what do your friends want in the library, or any constituents that you have? So normally we would start with the person who called it, but you're kind of sitting in the middle. So I'm just going to start in the back and work our way forward so we don't lose track. So Kritika, you get to start.
Oh no, okay.
I'm giving
Really
you a
putting me on
together.
the spot right ahead. Okay, I think that the quiet library study space, I would agree with. I know that there's a lot of interest in like the reading room and other like more quiet areas of study. And I think like M level, A level, all of those like areas where there is more communal studying, those are really successful, and the people who want to study there are able to usually find a seat there. But at least pre-COVID, it was very difficult to find a seat in the reading room, especially during finals period. So I would agree. I think quiet study space would be helpful.
All right, next person. Also, I'm going to put a 30-second time limit on this just so we don't go too long. Go ahead.
I think I agree with Kritika's statement that quiet spaces would be helpful, but I also see Brody as like a social space as well. I do think people, like the outside chairs of like the reading room are something that could maybe be updated. I know I see like a couple new ones, but like things like the chairs also in atrium. So like those communal spaces, they kind of are like worn down, and so maybe like redesigning those open spaces where people usually do take breaks and hang out would also be useful.
All right, next person.
Yeah, so I think not to belabor the point, but I do think that because the MSC is the thing that would be changing, MSC generally tends to be the place where people go for quieter studying, especially on like those lower floors. And so making sure like Brody Learning Commons is still going to exist for the group study space. And so, you know, M and A level right now are supposedly more group study, though that's changed a little bit since COVID. So I think that would be valuable just to make sure that we maintain this dedicated quiet study space that people have. One thing I was going to bring up is just since COVID, the advent of like a lot of hybrid types of modalities, especially like a lot of student organizations hold meetings in the library. And so like the opportunity, like I was actually mentioning this last week, to have things like Zoom rooms or other ways to enable like hybrid ways for people to gather in the library would be interesting.
Next.
I think for all these points are great. I don't know if like this is in your purview, but all the outside spaces, I think you could definitely expand on the number of chairs and things out there. I think a lot of them are taken up. And also I do think there is required a lot of like shade. Because right now people are just sort of like ducking the corner of Brody, like the sort of the overhang of Brody. And I think people would appreciate being able to work there, even for the break time.
Next person.
Yeah, so I agree that Brody is definitely like more of the social space compared to like MSC, but I think that like the individual reading rooms where people go to collaborate always get booked, and there's always like a competition to see who can get there like the fastest. So maybe like renovating some of the individual study rooms within MSC too would like alleviate some of that.
Next.
Can I go?
Exec's gonna go last. Do you want?
I agree with the point made previously, especially the cubicles in MSC are really outdated, and the chairs are like legit just not doable, you know what I mean? The chairs are like really old and their cushions are gone, so maybe just like making the cubicle a little bit more nice, like a little bit nicer, and changing the chairs would increase the comfort for the students.
Next.
Yeah, I would say like making it feel more homey. Like I feel like Brody feels really like nice and it's very like modern, but like if you go to like A level, B level, it just feels like kind of outdated. So yeah, maybe just like making it like, I don't know, comfier chairs, like that type of thing.
Next.
I think that it is great for us to have a mixture of both like group spaces and individual spaces. One key thing I want to note though is that because the way that currently Brody is being designed, like environment is a really critical factor with especially sunlight for students studying. So like a lot of the people
10
want
seconds.
to find like individual study spaces that hopefully would have exposure to sunlight.
Good. Next.
Yeah, I want to echo what Charlotte's saying. The ambiance of like the library is just very, like I don't want to study there because I don't want to feel like I'm being forced to study. I feel like making it more open and just more like welcoming would be nice.
Next.
Yeah, I agree with all the points raised, and I think the expansion of the outside study spaces was a good idea.
Next.
Yeah, so the MSc and Brody is very different. I enjoy studying Brody a lot because they have natural sunlight, but and the MSc doesn't. But I think a way to improve that is to really just re-update the furniture in there, having more modern tables, more comfortable seats, so then more students are encouraged to go study in spaces that are underground, which is kind of depressing at sometimes. So I think an update in furniture would be really nice to make it more modern, more comfy for students to go hang out in.
Next.
Yeah, I agree with everything everyone said, and I think, especially for, I think it was M level and MSc, it can get very hot and like very, I guess, humid sometimes because there's like no AC or there's like lack of ventilation. So if you guys are able to do something about that, yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and jump to Raj.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. And I asked my friends on things they wanted, and we basically all said the exact same three things. The biggest three are the Wi-Fi does not work below certain levels. Even at M level, it is very shoddy at best, and I've just had to leave Brody entirely. Like take a meeting. I know you have that problem as well. I have it too. The electrical outlets are iffy. Like a lot of them, you'll put the thing in and then they'll just fall out or they just don't work. And the last thing is that on the lower levels, there's not enough whiteboards and there's not enough markers and erasers for the whiteboards. It's either blackboards with no chalk or yeah.
Next.
Thank you.
I agree with everything said. Maybe add more greenery or something that feels more open to MSc. I'd also like to see more outlets around like single tables or tables in the middle because like sometimes my laptop dies and then I have to move. And also consider nap rooms. I think would be a good idea, like a place a student could go to take a quick nap between classes would really also help efficiency and students that don't get a lot of sleep at night.
Next.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone else has said, but I also think like the library would benefit from like adding more seatings that could be easily rearranged because like a lot of students have said that they don't really like the table options that are available because they're either like way too high, way too low, or have like attached chairs that are like really difficult to move around. And even like the seatings that have like rearrangeable chairs, like they're either like really big and like really difficult to push around. So yeah.
Next.
Yeah, I think a lot of Hawkins kids kind of romanticize that like D level, like just studying, but it is terrible for like mental health wise, like the fluorescent flicking lights. I know people who like study in D level and like had to go to the bathroom and cry. We don't want to like promote that energy, so having more like that open, more like breath of fresh air into like those quiet study levels.
Great, go ahead.
I am going to re-emphasize the need for more electrical outlets. As a CS major, my computer is my entire work, so when it dies, I'm dead. And, I currently have to fight to get an outlet in MSc.
Agreeing with most sentiments that's been said, I also would like more electrical outlets. I feel like tables like these that have the electrical outlets embedded into the table or something like that would be helpful, especially if you're like in the middle of the room. You don't have to like get up and move all the way to the side of the room just to like plug in your computer. And re-emphasizing the issue of light. I feel like we can have larger windows and more natural lighting.
Great. We're going to go ahead and move on to exec. Normally exec wouldn't be included, but I know we asked it. So we're going to go Elena, Karen, me, Matt. Elena?
I think people have said a lot of things and I agree with basically all of them, but I definitely want to emphasize the need for more group spaces, especially small group spaces, because I know I am working with a group. I'm not really comfortable doing it in the middle of Brody or MSc. I would want an individual room, especially with COVID, that's getting harder.
All right. Karen?
Building on Elena's point, I have a funny story. Actually, I asked my friends if they wanted to study in Brody. They were like, and then I was like, no, the Brody rooms are full. but do you want MSE? And they go, no. So I think like the MSE rooms, oftentimes they feel really cramped. So I think like something to like make the room seem bigger, and like the chalkboards are kind of like weird. So maybe like how Brody has the whiteboards like across like the whole room. And not the whiteboards, but like just the writable walls, or something that just makes the space feel bigger, and like movable chairs.
Right. And for me, as everyone says, I agree with all the points. I think colors would be important because all of the colors are kind of like brown and they just make you sad in MSE. And then the lighting, as everyone's emphasized, the lighting is also kind of brown and terrible. And then basically just kind of updating it to make it a place that people want to go by having more group spaces. You can also like have plants in there somehow. I don't know how, but there's not really like a green space on campus. So maybe changing one of the outdoor areas to more of like a courtyard type thing, and definitely more outdoor seating with shade. Especially like I know those seats were so hard to get during when the weather was nicer, and as we go into the spring semester, people are definitely going to want to be outside more versus. Next, last points.
Oh yeah. Well, I have to my thoughts kind of forgot. Oh yeah. You know like how they have like the whiteboard like effect on like walls and stuff? One thing that me and Addie wanted previously was to get like the whiteboard effect on like desks. So like how a whiteboard does have a normal desk. So you can like write down notes kind of while or like write down on that instead of writing up on board with that.
Brief point of information, if you guys have updates on the internet situation, because I know there's posts floating around, there's floating around, and I've gotten personally at least 10 different questions about why the internet is so terrible and when it's going to be fixed. So if you guys have any updates on that, I don't know if you would, or if that's something that you guys are considering, it's definitely an important issue.
You know, it's been really important to come to these student groups. The first I heard of the internet problems was when we went to the GRO yesterday. So, you know, it's clearly obvious that people use it all the time. So we'll look into it and we can get back to you.
That's probably the biggest reason that people aren't going to MSE right now, because I know people directly to student classes, and as like a representative for SGA, I don't know how to fix the internet right now, but I get a lot of questions. If you need more information about complaints, or you want to take a look at the petition that was going around, you can just email me my contact.
Yeah, or send it to me, but I'll make sure to email the library, the dean of the library tomorrow.
Thank you, appreciate it. Do you have any final questions, comments, concerns for us?
No, that was hugely helpful.
Of course.
We hear things that we haven't heard before, which just won't have come into our So thank you for your time.
Wonderful. All right, you guys are good school All right, we're going to go ahead and on to the GMC chair confirmation now that they're here. We had rearranged a little bit earlier. So I know it says it's me who's presenting, but it's actually not going to be me. It's going to be Elena talking about it very briefly. You're on like the caucus. It makes more sense.
I guess so. Caucuses are basically just a smaller group of senators and students who are dedicated towards a certain minority group on campus. So the WGMC is the Women and Gender Minorities Caucus, and right now we have 2 chairs that the WGMC has approved, and we just need to get them confirmed by the Senate.
Alright, so the way that caucus chairs work is basically we have to get a nomination and then we vote to confirm them. So do we have a nomination for any, go ahead Arlen.
I am nominating Nikki and Katie.
Alrighty, wonderful. Can I get a second to the nominations?
Second.
Beautiful. Am I reading this right? Okay, good. I think we have to vote on them each individually if memory serves correctly. So can I get a motion to move into voting procedure?
Motion to move into voting procedure.
Can I get a second? Second. Alrighty, all in favor of moving into voting procedure on Katie as chair?
Vice chair because she's a current member.
Aha, I knew I was missing something. All in favor of moving into voting procedure for the chair?
Aye.
Alrighty, all opposed? Any abstentions? Alright, we are now in voting procedure for Nikki as chair. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Great, Nikki as chair. We are now going into voting procedure for co-chair, can I get a nomination for co-chair? No, we did it, but technically they have to be separate as memory serves. Or vice chair.
I'm nominating Katie Lee as the vice chair.
Seconded.
Beautiful. Can I
Motion
get a
to vote.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are now in voting procedure. All in favor of Katie being vice chair?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Yay, we have done it. Congratulations. All right, so we have the chair confirmations. We only have 2 items on the agenda. So, all right, so this is presented by President Ali. I can give a background on it, or you just want to go hold that.
Allison emailed us, she's like in like right now, and she and Lee Hawthorne, who is like the student affairs person with Kevin Schollenberger, they want to send out this message kind of reiterating how we like was the during kind of like COVID and stuff. It's kind of based off of like the social compact that we kind of signed on to last semester. It kind of just reiterates like how we should be behaving in dining spaces, and they want to see if SGA, like certain people on SGA want to sign on to this, because they want to send it out with us and like the student affairs office. So they wanted to see if we have any suggestions or edits, and he said we would bring it to GBM or Senate for any editing things. So if you guys would like to go into moderate caucus or Q&A or something, if you want to suggest anything.
You can motion for a friendly amendment if you guys are reading this and have any. You can't do this. This isn't legislation. You don't do that.
Yeah, this is like from the student affairs office, so they just want us to like edit it or like give our suggestions or opinions on it, and then we're gonna give them that feedback, and then they're gonna take that into account when they send out this letter, and we're gonna like sign our names onto it if you guys would like to, or if you want certain names on it. If you don't, that's fine.
So we aren't the primary senders of this, student affairs offices, but it will be confirmed by SGA, and we can always send it out after they have released it. We can go to a moderated caucus if people have some discussion points. If not, we can just move on. I don't think this is something you do have to on this.
No, because if like SGA as a whole wants to send it out, like if we all feel that we collaboratively want like JHU, like SGA's name on it, then we can. Yeah, we can, but we can also like individually they asked us to put our names on it, but we wanted to ask if like you guys as a whole wanted our names on it.
Yeah. So can I get a motion for something? I love you guys holding eye contact with each other.
Motion for a 3-minute moderate caucus, 45-second speaking time.
All right, that sounds good to me. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? We're now in moderated caucus, 3 minutes, 45-second speaking time-ish. Kobe, you have to start. I'm second on the speakers list. Kobe is third.
Will this do anything? Because I think everybody knows that it's wrong. Sending out an email telling them that it is wrong, that I don't know if that's going to change anything, you know? I think maybe just like, if we do want to do just like bold at the last part of the second paragraph, like we will get suspended if it, but like just sending it out, it's like, they already know that you're not supposed to, so yeah, I don't,
That was the point that I was going to bring up. I personally think that we should emphasize if you guys don't stop doing this, we will be going back to grab and go. Because in our conversations, they sounded very, very serious, and they were like, we will remove all capacity for seated dining, indoor dining, outdoor dining. It'll literally just be grab and go, and you won't be able to eat it in any area with your friends. I don't know how we can emphasize that besides bolding it, and then also maybe say it at the end, adjust our dining options if necessary. Doesn't sound strong enough to me. I don't know how it should be phrased, but I definitely think that we need to emphasize that if this doesn't stop, they will be changing it. And then in addition, I think we should sign this as SGA in a whole, so I think we should vote on it. And I yield my time to Obi, and then Nathan next.
Not to sound like an anti-mask or anything, but just speaking as a student representative rather than like an SGA member, I've heard like a lot of like, not really complaints, but I heard they've really doubled down on like the whole, mask and mandate thing. People have let me know that like if they were seen without a mask, they were asked to leave early immediately. Someone else let me know that they they were practicing over or something, and someone like took their mask off and they were asked to leave like the room immediately, which I'm not saying they were incorrect for doing it, but there's a difference between just like forgetting them or just now moving back versus like actual non-compliance. So I think like with the way the student body already views SGA, I don't know, personally, I don't want to sign on to that.
All right, it's gonna be Nathan and then Veda and then me again.
Yeah, so personally, I mean, I'm hugely in favor of the letter just because I think it's our responsibility to communicate to people if there's a chance that they're going to lose their grabbing. I mean, at least give people a warning, or lose their indoor dining, like at least give people a warning before it's just taken. I did just want to clarify, are we saying that like if we didn't sign as SGA, we would have like 32 names on that email? Like,
No.
it seems like writing as SGA would be much preferred.
No. If we didn't sign it as a full body, then like me, Karen, Brianna, and Elena would have like the option to put our names on the letter.
They asked for exact signatures, but we
Oh, so they don't care about us. Okay, let's see how it is.
we're gonna go ahead and move to Veda and then Matt.
Yeah, I agree with the message, but I also kind of agree with like previous sentiments that like I think that more people don't know about this happening than they do, and I feel like sending this out to the entire student body would kind of just like create unnecessary chaos. I feel like this should be handled like internally within like the dining halls. Like if they see people breaking this rule, they already know that they're not supposed to do it, and they can just be asked to like leave immediately. Just because like I feel like they're the exception, like Kobe said.
Alrighty, anybody else on the speakers list besides me and Mahak? So I definitely see where you're coming from on Kobe specifically. I just think we didn't, like if we know that there's a chance that people could go back to just grab and go and we don't tell them, we're not doing our job of being transparent and being a communication between administration. I don't want it to be like, oh, SGA is such like a hard thing, like they're on the administration side and we're trying to like get people in trouble. So maybe we shouldn't sign on to it and should make our own post warning people. I don't know how that would work. I'm still in favor of signing on to it, maybe making the wording less harsh and be like, this is just a warning from whatever. I don't know exactly the exact wording, but I definitely see where you're coming from on that. I'm happy in the heck.
I also agree with Brianna and Nathan. I think it is our responsibility to kind of send it out and let people know, because after you're suspended, like what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like it's better to know beforehand that this could get you suspended than like learn after the fact. Like people can blame us and be like, oh, like they didn't tell us. Well, not us specifically, but like, oh, like us. But if you guys have like problems with the wording, then like feel free to like edit. I can make the link like edit so you guys can like place your own edits if you want. Yeah, and I'll do that right now. Yeah.
China. Also, wait, before China, can I get an extension for the moderated caucus?
Extension for moderated.
How many minutes?
Seconded. 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Sounds great. Can I, all in favor? All opposed? Any extensions? 2 minute extension, China, go.
So is it going to be signed under the SGA as a whole, or is it under the individual SGA?
It can either be executive or signed on as our own individual names, or it can be, I'm pretending to yield your time to me, I should have asked, my bad. Or we can sign it as SGA as a whole. For signing as SGA as a whole, we need to vote today. If we are not, Elena, Karen, and I can just pop our names on it. And again, if you guys have, if you want to make the wording softer or less, like we're going to get in trouble, feel free to edit it. G1, Valia after.
I feel like this wording is kind of fine. I mean, I don't know how less harsh we can be on this. Honestly, also, I don't think we're losing much if we do end up sending this email. People don't read it. People read it. Like, I feel like our job as SGA is to inform the students about how administrators take inside. I think this email probably gives them a heads up if you, like, you know, just not do social distancing and dining, you will go grab and go. I think that's the point of this, and I think we send it up.
All right, Talia, and then Peter, and then I'm going to need the extension.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in favor of like making our own post or sending our own email out about it. I think that like they're not going to see this as like, oh, SGA is giving us a heads up about this. I feel like the general student body is going to be like, oh crap, administration is like trying to threaten us about this. So yeah, I prefer not to sign on personally, but I think that like SJ could give the student body a heads up by like sending out their own email and letting them know like the conversations are happening.
Alright, can I get an extension just so we don't have to interrupt you?
I'll extend it by 8 minutes, 30 seconds speaking times.
1 second, I did not hear that.
8 minutes, 30 seconds speaking times.
Sounds good, can I get a second? All in favor? All opposed? Peter?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Tyler just said, and was what I want to bring up is that if we're gonna send this letter, I really much would like it to just come from the SJ itself and don't necessarily associate with their school, because I don't see what's the point of sending this message like by the admin when like the information's already there. Might as well send it from the SJ exclusively and make it clear, that we're giving them a heads up instead of just putting both together.
Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and move on to Anthony and Elena.
Yeah, I was going to say I agree with G1 and Talia. I think them even sending this letter is them basically saying this is what we're thinking about doing, regardless of whether we sign on or not. So I think really whether we sign on or not, it's up to y'all. I don't think it really matters one way or the other, but I definitely agree that we should send our own message that is phrased more of, hey guys, we've been in meetings with administration, this is what they're looking at doing, and here's what we can do to prevent that from happening.
Alright, sounds good. We're gonna go ahead and go Elena and then Kofi.
Point of information for the two of y'all, this conversation is not supposed to be happening right here. Just, if you can go back to the original email that Allison sent you for review.
Okay. I saw your text.
Cool.
Motion to close the moderated caucus.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? Moderated caucus is now been closed. We'll move
Motion to
on.
go into closed session.
All in favor? Or can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Alright, and so we gotta kick you out. Sorry. Everybody, phones face down on the table, work in your bags. Laptops done. We don't talk about these things that happen in here. No. Okay, it's not okay. We'll come get you once we get out of closed session. So closed session is Friday. I need to stop by.
Genuinely helpful.
Yeah, 0 people. We're going live. The recess is over. We don't come back. Prospective business, legislation, and announcements. I have a few announcements that I have written down. If anybody else does, you can raise your hand right after me. So first off, happy Blue Jay Tuesday. Secondly, happy Sukkot for everybody who celebrates. It's the end of the Jewish high holidays right now. So happy all of them. What are the other things that I had to say? I want to have a shout out to Chinette's Quest to Learn thing. I saw on Instagram that you guys won the competition. So I don't know what you won. I was not paying attention. I just saw a picture of you and a squad of people and Quest to Learn. So if you want to talk about that after SGA, feel free. I also want to bring to attention just some events that are coming up. There is Oktoberfest, which is going to have a field day type thing, I believe, which is something Kobe was interested in. A haunted house, which is something that I was interested in, and so many other activities. I know that the fire center there, there's going to be performances. In addition, there is acapella and theater/dance O show coming up sometime in October. Fire Spinners will be at the theater/dance O show. I might just advertise my club right now, maybe. There's also something called the Halloween Jamboree that's going to be happening somewhere near Wyman Park. I don't know what that is. We got an email from them as our club, but it seems like it's a cool fall event. I will send information about it in the feed. Also for announcements, it doesn't have to be SGA specific announcements. If you want to plug a different organization or an event or something like that, we did that last year. Or if you want to just shout out somebody for being good and cool, like I did with China, feel free to do that. Karen?
Our event with HSS is happening from 6:30 to 7 in front of House Commons.
What event?
You should stop by. What?
What event is it?
The sustainability one.
Oh, cool. Oh, another announcement. I talked to the compost people at the farmer's market. And the lady who runs it is actually a Hopkins employee. She works with ResLife. I gave her an email. She's supposed to email me. If not, I'll see her on Saturday when I go back. but she's really, really interested in helping you guys out, and with the farmers market incentive, having people bring their we'll talk to you guys about that. So that's the thing. Any other announcements? Shona?
Marriage Park is live this week. Like, despite what obviously what I say, it's got nothing. It's actually like it's got nothing really much to do with marriage. It's mainly about like finding people, building connections on campus, and finding people who are compatible, and building the community. And so, please tell all your friends. Literally, it's only open for 1 week. So by like Sunday, it's going to be closed. And so, if you all want to be like, it's either you're in or you're out. And so you better fill it out sooner. And also please tell your friends and tell them that it's not just about like romantic relations.
Beautiful. Any other announcements?
It's not just about
Going once?
1 second.
Going twice? Advancing legislation. Anybody gonna have anything for next week? Judiciary possibly if we get more applications. Anybody else? Going once?
Oh, you have to do like J2.
Are you raising your hand? No? Going once? Going twice? Input period. That's you.
No.
Alrighty, moving on to public input period.
Motion to close.
Second.
Aye.
Public input, 1 second.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Can I get a motion?
Second.
Second.
Somebody has to say.
Aye.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
I'm trying.